Thanks so much for being here. I'm Instructor Dwayne Jenkins, and welcome back to our video lessons on the minor pentatonic scales. Well, today we're going to be working on pattern 3. In our last two lessons, we went through pattern 1 and pattern 2, and I'd highly recommend you check those out if you haven't, because you want to definitely make sure you got those down before you get to this one. So, in our last video lesson, we talked about our pattern 2. We're doing it in the key of G minor right here at the 3rd fret. So pattern 1 would be right here at 3 to 6. Pattern 2 would be right here at 6-8. And then of course pattern 3 would be where pattern 2 leaves off, right here at the 8th fret, 8-10. 8-10, 8-10, 8-10, 7-10, 8-11, and then back to 8-10 again. And you can tell that we're still in the key of G because we can always go back to that root. And like I said before, you want to master those intervals, those note intervals. If you master those intervals, you'll be in key every single time, and this is really helpful for improvising and writing your own music. This pattern right here is going to be a whole step, whole step, whole step, step and a half, and then another whole step. And the concept is to be able to connect it to the other two patterns so that you're revealing more of the fretboard. So if we were playing like in G flat, I'm sorry, not G flat, G minor, you'd be playing from 3rd all the way up here to the 10th. You're going to be to the 11th on the B string right here. So think of how much of the fretboard that we've opened up right now just because of these 3 patterns. If you just knew these 3 patterns, you could play all this here and stay in key as long as you master the patterns and master the intervals of the patterns. So then what you want to do, and like I mentioned before, what you want to do is try to do one each day. So if you did it like in 5 days, you know, pattern 1 for a day, pattern 2 for a day, now pattern 3, do that just for today. Just master pattern 3 and play it all over the fretboard. Okay, play it here at the 4th fret. Play it up here at the 10th fret. Anywhere, play it at the 2nd fret. And when you play it all over the fretboard like that, play it all along the fretboard, it helps you to train your ear to hear it, okay? And that's what you want to do. Play it here at the 12th fret. And then what you want to do after that is you want to try to figure out what key you're playing it in. So what you do is just pick a random fret, let's say this fret right here at the 6th fret. Let's say we played the 3rd pattern right here at the 6th fret. What key are we in? Well, if we go back a whole step, that's pattern 2. We go back a step and a half, that's pattern 1. So that tells us that we're in the key of F minor. Because pattern 1 would be right here off of the F 1st fret, which is our F note. Our 2nd pattern would be right where our 1st pattern leaves off, right here at the 4th fret. And then our 3rd pattern is going to be right here. At the 6th fret. So that's a good way of kind of determining what key you're in and really knowing the fretboard back and forth, back and forth. Try it again with another key. Let's say we play it here at the 12th fret, right? Play the pattern 3 at the 12th fret. 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 11, 14, 12, 15, and then back to 12, 14 again. Playing pattern 3 right here. What key are we in? We go back a whole step, that's our 2nd pattern. We go back a step and a half, that's our 1st pattern. That tells us that we are now playing in C sharp minor. Because pattern 1 would be right here. Pattern 2 would be at the 10th fret. pattern 3 would be right here at the 12th fret. And that's how you want to really determine not only the pattern itself, but how it relates to the other two patterns that you learned. Hopefully you've worked on those. If you haven't, I'd highly recommend you go back and check out those out. I'll put those videos in the description box. You can check those out because they're all going to connect together like puzzle pieces. And if you learn these 5 patterns, they're going to give you a really good solid foundation for playing lead guitar. And if you need some additional help, I'd recommend you check out my books. I have this book I wrote. It's called How to Play Guitar Solos. You can find it on Amazon, and it tells you all about the pentatonic patterns. It tells you how to play them, licks that you can play with them, how to understand them in keys, things like that, a little bit more detail. So I'd highly recommend checking that out if you want to learn a little bit more about this stuff. All right, so once again, play the pattern, master the pattern, master its relative to the other 2 patterns that you should have learned by now, and then work on licks, you know, some of your guitar licks, hammer-ons, pull-off slides, bends, things like that. See, because each pattern has its own character, and what you want to do is play through it and discover the character of the pattern, you know? Key it's in, and then be able to also not only play the pattern, but go back through the other patterns as well, pattern 2 and pattern 3, and play those too. So if you're in pattern, let's see, in pattern 3, pattern 2, pattern 1, know those intervals real well. That's how you really stay in key, is by mastering those intervals. And it only comes through really just playing this stuff over and over again, all day long, every day. Put in some time and be able to really know where you're at in the patterns, in the scale. And if you do that enough, I guarantee you're going to master the fretboard. You're going to master it just by playing it, visualizing those patterns. You want to visualize them, see them on the fretboard, see how you connect them with the other patterns. And then when you go to improvise, and I would highly recommend you work with like either a metronome or a drum beat or like some backing tracks or something. You can find that stuff all over the internet. Find that stuff where you can make your own rhythm, you know, with like a looper pedal, repeat it. Doesn't really matter. There's many ways you can do it. You can record it on your phone and have it repeat, whatever you'd like to do. Doesn't really matter how you do it. Just matters is you just do it and work with it on a daily basis. And if you work with pattern 3 today and you connect it to pattern 2 and pattern 1, you're going to have this much of the fretboard expanded. And then what we're going to do is look at pattern 4 and pattern 5 in our next couple lessons. All right? So that's our lesson for today. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer those. Work on pattern 3. Know that pattern like the back of your hand. Determine if you play at a certain fret what key you're going to be in. Connect it with the other 2 patterns and be able to move in between all 3 patterns. And then once you get that down, you'll be ready for pattern 4. So keep practicing, and I'll see you at our next lesson.